guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to continue with the mini-series that I'm doing for the month of December, covering the Dougherty Dozens TikTok playlists. Today we're going to go over some of the videos that Alicia has put out under the playlist titled This Is Us, and it is essentially just a entire playlist of oversharing these children's stories, their birthdays, their full names, their ages, what grades they're in, and even a little bit about the bio parents. So we're going to go through this. I'm going a little bit out of order because I felt like this is more important than her playlist of what her kids eat in a day. We can do that later on. I really want to get this one done for you guys because I do think that her oversharing is, in my opinion, much more of an important topic than her charcuterie boards and, you know, what her kids are eating. Again, like, everything's important, but for my channel in this series, I feel like if we're going to go in order of importance, in my opinion, this will come next up. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, now heads up, some of this reaction I might have to mute because of the music that she uses. We'll have to see. If I do, I will go ahead and replace it with some kind of sound or some kind of music so that y'all will know you're not experiencing sound issues. I am hoping that it's minimal, but also, as another disclaimer, there is a lot of oversharing in this. And as y'all know, I don't want to continue to overshare about her adopted or kinship children, because if she's oversharing and then I'm oversharing it again, I just don't want to do that, because something about her adopted and her kinship kids, I feel like discussions about these kids really needs to be handled with white gloves, because I think the Dougherty situation is different, and that's why I am handling it with as much care and compassion as I possibly can. So I hope that you guys understand. But in this video, I will try to do my very best to make sure I'm explaining exactly what she is sharing in a really generic way that still protects the kids, but so that y'all also understand why it is that it's even being talked about. So let's just start from the top. Now, as a my last disclaimer, I'm sure y'all are like, shut up already. The last disclaimer that I want to put is I did cut some of these out because they got extremely repetitive. Alicia kind of likes to use the same gag over and over again, and with her it's showing, we are Alicia and Josh Dougherty. In da-da-da, we adopted da-da-da from da-da-da. Then we found out we were pregnant with da-da-da. And it's the same gag over and over. So I'm not going to bore y'all. This video would be 2.5 hours if I literally watched all of those. But you'll get the idea. So before I keep blabbering, let's get into it.
Meet Dougherty, the 9th and 10th kiddos to join the Dougherty Dozen. They lived for years in a residential treatment facility, and they were not having success being adopted together. Caseworkers were about to split this sibling group apart. But once we heard about their case, we fought to keep this brother and sister duo together. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Because we believe that every child deserves a happy ending and a forever family.
So obviously, number one thing I want to say is I want to thank Alicia for not splitting up this sibling group that she has in her home. I think that that's really important, and it's something that I've always heard within the foster care system is a lot of times siblings will get split up and go to separate homes, and then they have to hope that they can reconnect as adults once they are no longer in the foster care system. So that part, amazing. I think that's wonderful. There's really nothing negative to say about that, because at the end of the day, by not being split up, that benefited the kids. But in the same sentence, I can also say, number one, she does not need to share that they came from a treatment facility. She did not need to share that they were in a different type of facility than what the other kids that are up for adoption like. Here's the whole thing. I've talked about this before. When it comes to kids and parents, when the parents are going through the disease of addiction, that's a really sensitive topic. And those kids don't always want everybody to know that their parent or parents were addicts. They might want to confide in a therapist first. They might want to confide in their spouse or a friend or some kind of other mental health professional. They don't necessarily want everyone who came across this TikTok video to know about this. Y'all kind of know how my brain works by now. I'm sure you have a general idea though. I automatically think of how are these kids going to feel as they continue to get older, and so much of their story is on the Dougherty Dozen's social media. I've said many times, I hope that Alicia is saving this money because bare minimum, if there was one thing that could come out of this, I would hope that at least these kids have money waiting for them when they turn 18. And at the rate that she spends it, I just don't know if that is a possibility. Not saying that the oversharing would be worth it, but at least bare minimum, the kids would have some money to get their lives started, whether or not they want to go to college or start a business or whatever it is that they want to do with their lives. I just will never agree with this level of oversharing. Telling the world or telling, social media that your parent is a drug addict or an alcoholic or whatever their journey was is not always something that people want to talk about. And there might be people in their 70s who dealt with that as kids and they've never been ready to share it with the world, and that's okay because they made the decision. It wasn't their foster parent or adopted parent or caregiver or guardian sharing it for them. You're taking away the power from these kids to share their stories as an adult, and that's why I always get fired up about it.
Jam.
Now, I'm obviously going to mute this out, but I will tell you guys exactly what's going on here. She is sharing all of the kids' full name. First name, middle name, and obviously the last name is Dougherty. We know that. So let's see. We know where you live. We know your kids' full names. We know most of their birthdays. We know where they go to school. Sometimes we might know their biological parents' names. We know their bio parents' stories. We know what kind of medical issues they have. What is it that we don't know about the kids? I've said before, Alicia, why don't you go ahead and share everything that you share about the kids, flip that around, and tell us about yourself. Tell us about your family and what you did growing up and what your kind of day-to-day looks like. Take the kids oversharing and just dump it from your content. And I know once it's out there forever, and I understand that, but it's just like the reproduction and the constant, just keeping it going is wild. I don't think that she even realizes how peppering all of this information about her kids for people online to consume, and not only consume, but more importantly, store, she's giving strangers the key to knowing her kids a little bit better. Do you think that since everybody knows where they go to school and what their schedules are, if someone showed up at their school and happened to somehow see them on the playground, practicing football, whatever it is, and Alicia and Josh are not there, don't you think that those kids might be a little more apt to trust a stranger if the stranger said, "Oh, hey, da da da," addresses by the full name. "Hey, your birthday is blah blah blah, and I know your favorite color and I know your favorite movie. I'm one of your mom's friends." That's going to give that kid more of a, hey, maybe this person does know my parents. Maybe my parents did send this person to pick me up from school. It's just so dangerous.
Hey, this is actually a great question. So my husband and I were licensed to be foster adopt parents in the summer of 2009. We were searching the online databases of children who were already freed for adoption, and we were submitting our home study to several children. There are currently 133,000 children in the foster care system in the United States that are already freed for adoption and waiting for an adoptive family. In November of 2009, we saw this. And that was baby Alex, and obviously he was adorable. So, of course, we submitted our home study, and lo and behold, now here he is. Thanks for the question.
So that's fine. The common argument with a lot of Dougherty Dozen fans is, oh, she's giving these kids such a fantastic life. And if you consider what she's giving them as a really fantastic life, then that's your opinion. I have my own. I don't think that, quote, a really fantastic life is provided in terms of buying materialistic things, allowing them to have the diet that they want, kind of letting them have free reign of whatever it is. Like the bonus kid that's there now has a girlfriend, like no rules, this is the fun house. Like if you're gonna say that, oh, this is such a wonderful thing, what is it that she's doing that is outside of feeding and giving them a house that is so wonderful? She has used their stories for her own financial gain, and that's why people do not respect Alicia. I want to address this one comment. I had shared a while ago a video of Alicia sharing a bunch of different diagnoses about one of her children.
We moved in a little over a year ago. They were 8 and 10 at the time. Rick is older, and he is the same size. When they moved in, I took them both for full psych evals. I also had the school district do a full evaluation. You put all of those evaluations together over the past 12 years, and that's his full list of diagnoses. He is small because he has a condition which also displays very similar to autism. He has full fetal alcohol syndrome as well.
And someone in this comment thread said, I hope it's not rude, but could you make a video of all the disabilities and disorders if they want to, of course? And someone responded and said she has a video on that. Scroll down and you'll find it. And that's a video that I have shared before. Obviously, it's very difficult to share because it shows a bunch of different medical diagnoses.
That's a good one.
Okay, we would need like an hour to list them all, but here are the top of the list. Fetal alcohol syndrome, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, reactive attachment disorder, OCD, ODD, anxiety, autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, gastroparesis, sleep disorders. Come on, chime in.
Pica.
Oh boy, yeah. Anemia, asthma, bipolar disorder, mood disorder, impulse control disorder, PTSD, all 6 of them, PTSD. I'm forgetting stuff.
No, you named a lot of them.
Those are the main ones.
So many of the videos that I've seen about her, I constantly had the same opinion, and that is that wasn't yours to share. And you shared it anyway. And why did you share it? To grow your social media platform.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
So essentially in this video, all that she does is go through and names all of the kids' ages. So now we have their full name and their ages, and in a little while we'll have their birthdays as well. And I think it's really interesting. In the tags of this video, she put interracial, large family, adoption, family. There have been a lot of people who have been really infatuated with their oldest child, and he's not only been the butt of a lot of jokes, but he also has a lot of people on TikTok that talk about him. And there is a fan page. I will throw it right here just as a receipt, but I will try to alter it. I don't want to send a bunch of people to this fan page. It's just weird. Does Alicia realize the impact that has also played? You literally want to say that your home is a safe haven for all of these children, and you have creepy people on the internet making fan pages and obsessing over your oldest child. So here she shares about a sibling group that she has in her home, and she says, after a lifetime of trauma and abuse, so again, oversharing what these poor kids went through. And after oversharing that, she is applauded in the comments. Applauded for oversharing what these children went through in their earlier life. Until the great Alicia came in and swooped in and saved the day. So here she shares that her kids were baptized, and I think that's fine. If that's something that you want to do for your kids, like, have at it. Don't care. What I do find interesting is she used to talk a lot more about going to church and getting the kids dressed for church, and here she's talking about the baptism and how they would all go to church on Sundays. I personally, and always correct me if I'm wrong, please sound off, I have not heard her talk about going to church or taking any of the kids to church in a very long time. So what changed? Is she deconstructing her faith? Has she turned her back on the church for some reason? Is she looking at Christianity in a different light? Or does she just not have the time, energy, or patience to take her kids to church anymore because she's so overwhelmed with making TikToks? That would be something I would be curious about. And if she's going through something and she felt comfortable sharing, which obviously she shares about her kids, she might as well share about her own life, I would be interested. Like, why no more church? Just a question. So here again, she goes ahead and lists all of the kids' names, and she also included a kid that lives next door. I think that's a little weird. I thought it was a little random. Again, and I really don't want to be a broken record in this video, but it is so important to keep this type of information off the damn internet. Kids' birthdays, kids' medications, kids' ages, where they go to school. This is not behavior, in my opinion, that should be applauded. It should be called out for what it is, and what it is oversharing and exploiting to build your net worth.
Okay, bonus kids, here we go. This picture is a few years old, but that is our adopted son's biological sister, Brienne. That's her husband, Berto. 3 of their 4 children.
Now here she overshares about one of the kids' biological sister and her husband and their kids. They probably did give her permission to go ahead and share this, but I would not want photos of my kids on a TikTok like the Dougherty TikTok. And I know that this was before they had all their, quote, super fame and all that kind of stuff, but no, it's a no for me. So here again, she's just sharing the adoption story of the kids. Like, this is the same thing that she does a lot. This next TikTok I did find interesting because she said they were praying through 9 years of infertility for one child. And of course, everyone's relationship with faith is a little bit different, but I find it really interesting that she said that they were praying. I don't know. I am more of a kind of believe the medical professionals and work with your doctors and look at science and look at biology. I don't know. I know that, and I don't want to completely discount it because I know that prayer can be very vital in people's lives, but I always think, why not combine the prayer with science-based medicine and facts and things that are actually proven? I think combined they can be a pretty awesome thing.
Josh and I both grew up playing a musical instrument and doing sports, and we feel like it's really important to help your brain grow and be a well-rounded individual. Not all of our children love that we have the rule that they have to play a musical instrument once they hit first grade, and they have to do a sport. Alex recently switched to the piano after playing the trumpet for years, so play the piano as well. I'll play the drums, and Dash plays the ukulele.
Here she shares about what instruments the kids play and how they're doing Zoom lessons and so on and so forth. I did actually like how she shared a little bit about her and her husband in the beginning of the video, instead of just, you know, not sharing about them and making it all about the kids like she usually does. Tell more about yourself. Limit how much people know about your kids, especially like their personal their favorites and their things that they like to do and personal information and stuff like that. Like, she could really switch up her platform and change minds a lot. And here she is again in another video saying, oh, this kid loves sports and friends. This kid loves dogs and video games, and sharing what age they were adopted, the baseball and SpongeBob and dolls and fashion and adopted at age blah, blah, blah. She also really differentiates a lot between bio kids and adopted kids. And I've heard her say that if they're out in public and, you know, people ask about her kids, like, she just says, oh, they're all my kids. Like, she doesn't go into that. So why are you constantly harping on it on social media? It's the same gag. It's the same, oh, we adopted da-da-da, we have this many bio, this many adopted. It's constantly segregating them. So why are you segregating them for social media, but you claim that you're not in your real life? So here again, she wants to use the Full House theme music, introduce the kids, and once again is sharing their ages.
We are Alicia and Josh Dougherty. We've been married for almost 18 years. We live outside Rochester, New York with our 10 kids. He is 15 years old. We adopted him from foster care when he was 5. After 9 years of infertility and miscarriages, we gave birth to our first biological daughter, Zoe, in 2012. He was 14 years old. We adopted him from foster care when he was 6. Dash is 7 years old and was our second biological child in 2014. Are 6-year-old twins. They moved in when they were 10 months old in 2015. 3 years later, we ended up adopting them from foster care. Bodhi is our biological child. He was born in 2016. Harley is our last biological child. She was born in 2018. When we learned we were a sibling group in a residential treatment facility that couldn't find a successful adoptive home, we adopted them in 2019. And that's how we became the Dougherty Dozen.
I really can't stand how when and this is one of the videos that she recycles all the time. We are Alicia and Josh Dougherty. We live in New York and blah, 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 blah. When she runs down all the kids, she very often will mention about the sibling group being from a treatment center. I don't like that. I don't like that. It is putting them in a different group, in a completely different, it's like you're trying to put them on an island where, oh, they were not only adopted, but they were adopted from a treatment facility, and we adopted both of them, and we took on the task, and look at what a great job we did. It comes off as very savior. It comes off as very much just taking their right away to tell their own story about their parents. It might be embarrassing for these kids when they get a little bit older for people to know that they came from a treatment center where they were being cared for. That could be embarrassing to them. There are a lot of people who get embarrassed over things that I might find really silly and mundane, and it might embarrass someone to the point where they just curl up into a ball. And it could be vice versa. I might be embarrassed by something that someone else laughs at. You never know. And the fact that she took it away from these kids pisses me off. So here we are again sharing the backstory and the birthday of numerous kids.
How do we have triplets that are 2 African American and 1 Caucasian? Well, when our biological son Dash was 1 year old, we were asked to take temporary foster care placement of the twins. All 3 boys were born in 2014 and quickly became attached to each other. In 2018, we ended up adopting the twins from foster care, and now these 3 get to be best friends and brothers forever.
I think that this is good, but I mentioned in another video that I felt like Alicia had a white savior complex. I'm going to link an article down below. If you guys are interested, go ahead and read it. I think that some people hear white savior complex and it's like this really crazy statement to make. There are actually a lot of people who adopt and foster that have white savior complex. Micah Stauffer had white savior complex. A lot of people have said the family channel Not Enough Nelsons has white savior complex. So there are a lot of people that have actually exhibited the behavior that lines up with what being a white savior is. And from what I've seen from Alicia specifically, Josh too, but definitely the things that Alicia has said from her own mouth, that's why I say I think that she exhibits white savior complex. So I'll link that article down below only if you're interested. She's done this quite a few times where the trauma, the medical trauma that this child experienced as an infant before he was adopted by Alicia, She has used this as not only part of content, but also as part of a brand deal for Care Bears. I'll roll that clip for you guys real quick.
When was 10 months old, we got asked to take foster care placement.
Doing that thing again in this video where she says that it's hashtag awareness. Alicia, you're not a doctor. So what are you spreading awareness about? You're not a medical professional. You're not someone who knows everything that there is to know about having burns or anything like that. And even if you were, it's not your damn story to tell. This is a constant cycle. Not your story to tell. That wasn't your business to share. It's not your story, Alicia. Stop oversharing it. So consistent. So here's another video with the same thing, talking about child insert name was born in this year, child this name was adopted in this year, and again, it's the same gag over and over again. Moving on. So this says, this is a message to everyone spamming me that I should not have adopted Black children because I am white. Let's pause it right there. I don't believe that she gets spammed with those kind of comments. She might get one or, even a handful of ignorant people in her comments. I'm sure that she does. But let's not act like you're getting thousands of messages and thousands of comments a day. Most people, for the most part, they're not going to spam you saying, oh, you're white, you shouldn't have Black children. Come on now. And here she goes over saying, one day we got a call asking if we could take foster care placement of twin boys. Every other foster family said no, they were blah, 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 blah. And she goes over medical issues and trauma that they had as before they arrived to Alicia. They spent years trying to find the bio family. They spent years trying to find biological family that could take them. Everyone said no or wasn't qualified to meet their extensive needs. In the meantime, I quit my job to stay home and maintain all of their appointments and specialists. 3 years later, the twins' case moved to adoption. Their bio mom requested that they be adopted by a Black family. They searched for an adoptive family that was Black. They all said no. At that point, their bio parents realized that blank and blank had already been in our family for most of their lives and moving them would be too traumatic. They gave us their blessing for adopting them. And now they're forever Doughertys and they are enough. And these boys deserve the world. But what they don't deserve is to have Alicia get rich off of their story. I think it's appalling. She has thrown this bio dad under the bus by saying, oh, hopefully now that he's staying out of jail, he can take the kids to a Black barbershop since they allegedly pay her no mind, which again, I think is complete BS and nonsense. I think that she gives out stories like this in order to pander to people and make people say, oh, how could someone treat you so badly? How could someone be so mean to you? You're doing such wonderful things. I don't believe that anyone ignored her at the Black barbershop. I don't think she sat there and got spammed by commenters. I don't think she's receiving 1,000 emails a day berating her for having Black children. Again, please refer to the White Savior article that I will leave down below. And with people specifically asking, oh, can you do a video and share which kid is adopted and which one isn't? Y'all stop with that shit. Like, it's so weird. Like, it's been done over and over again. And if you're too lazy to actually look at her content, then you're probably not that invested and you're probably just being nosy. Can you do who is adopted? So again, I cannot stand how anytime she mentions that sibling group, it's automatically the residential treatment facility thing. Like, it is just sick how some people will put themselves on such a pedestal all for social media clicks, views, and likes. And she continues to produce the same gag because her channel was growing. They were growing super, super fast when she was constantly reproducing all of these videos. So she knew that people were overly invested. Back then, she wasn't really being called out for anything, and she could continue to overshare and reproduce the same problematic content and just do it in a little bit of a different style. People weren't going to call her out for it. But the problem is that the money grew and she has continued to overshare. And most importantly, she also has 2 kinship kids now that she has not protected either. And I really worry about that kinship girl. I know that a lot of y'all do too, but I am not going to address her by name. I'm not going to write an open letter to any child because I think that's weird, especially if you're making vile content about their parents. That won't be from me. But I protect their names because I've seen the downhill kind of slope that these kids have gone on, and they don't look happy. And I really worry about them. And I think that their identities should be protected at all costs. And that's my opinion. So either way, that's the end of the playlist. Again, I did chop some of these out just because it's the same thing over and over again. But as you can see, it's just a wealth of oversharing and the same gag over and over again. But I really cannot stand when foster or adopted parents tell their kids stories for them. Foster, adopt, I think that's amazing. But allow these kids to tell the world that their parents were drug addicts if and when they choose to tell the world. Just because you're giving them a house and food, which are the bare minimum essentials to be a parent, that does not give you the right to tell the world that their parents are in jail, mom's an alcoholic, and, grandma's MIA, so nobody else would take care of these kids, so I came in and saved the day. It's wrong, and that's how I feel about it. So that's going to be it for part 3. We will keep this going. I might take a day break or so. I don't want to wear y'all out, but I know y'all are interested, so I'm trying to stay in the middle somewhere. But for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.